I'm David Moore. I teach archaeology in the sociology and anthropology major. Okay. Well, I'm the only archaeologist, so it's a small program. But given that it's a small program, we do an awful lot of different things. I have an archaeology crew, so I have anywhere from 3 to 6 students any particular semester that are working on the crew. And the crew handles a real variety of tasks, but their major responsibility is all of the work that has to be done on materials that are excavated from our field school in the summer at the Berry site. So they clean, they wash, they catalog and analyze material. This semester they're starting on a report of last year's field school work. And all of these involve a lot of different tasks. So they work at that all year round. Crew members, some of them are usually involved with me in the summer in either taking the field school, or actually some of them, after they've got some experience, I'm able to hire as crew members in the summer. And we're active the whole summer long. The field school is only 4 weeks, but we have projects throughout the whole summer. And the summer work is part of research that I conduct with 2 colleagues, one at the University of Michigan and one at Tulane University. And this is a project, it's a big project. We have consultants working with us from 6 other universities and a number of grad students at different places. In my classes, I teach a variety of different things, and being just a single archaeologist, I can't cover everything by any means, but I try to take advantage of the fact that we have an archaeological site on campus here, the Warren Wilson site, and I can teach certain things at that site. We also take field trips to the Berry site, which is in Morganton, about an hour away from campus. So even though it's a one-person archaeology program, an undergraduate here at Warren Wilson probably has more opportunities to get involved with archaeology than at most other schools that have big archaeology programs. When I teach my field methods class, we can go for an extended weekend trip to Morganton, but also I can take folks out for a 2-hour class here on campus anytime. So the site on campus is what we call a stratified site. It has occupations that date back 7,000 or 8,000 years, but it's most significant for the remains of a prehistoric Cherokee village. And this is a palisaded or stockaded village of a dozen to 15 or so houses. Might have been 100 to 150 people living there in the 13th, 14th centuries AD. And these were ancestors of today's Cherokee Indians. And you find the whole range of what we call Mississippian culture represented there. The Berry site is a site from a little bit more recent period, from the 16th century, and it's a much bigger site. It covers about 12 acres compared to the 1 to 2 acres down here. This was a site occupied by ancestors of the Catawba Indians, and it's also the site of a Spanish fort that was built in 1567 and occupied for about 18 months. And this fort and the associated settlement with it, or the intended settlement, was the first European settlement in the interior of the United States. It's called Fort San Juan, and it lasted 18 months before the Indians destroyed it.
My name is Brandy Oliver, and this is my first semester on the archaeology crew, and it's been really awesome. At first, Dave had me read a lot of books about beads and study about that so I could start analyzing them. But after that, just being able to sit and measure the bead every day has actually been a lot of fun. And the reason I came to the school was for the archaeology lab. Pretty much a chance in a lifetime. You get to come to the lab and work and do a job that you would be doing after you graduate. So you get experience as a lab tech before you actually graduate. Also, we have a field school in the summer, so you don't only get to catalog and analyze artifacts, you actually get to dig them up. So that's also awesome.
Oh, I've had a really lovely experience. I've been on here since my sophomore year. I'm doing my thesis right now in archaeology, so obviously I'm kind of in love with this. It's been great working with Dave. He's been really supportive. He lets us have a lot of freedom in here because he trusts us and he believes that we can do just as much work as a graduate student, which is really great for us. I had the opportunity to do an internship with the state archaeologist of Western North Carolina, and I found that the work was actually the same as working here. So this is a really good example of like what a real life lab is like, which I find to be like very valuable experience. I have to say, spending months at a time just sitting here during the fall semester cataloging, where you're just, everything goes from this all the way around. And so you start off with just this giant mass of stuff. You just sit there and you're moving this over here, and then you're putting a little label on it, and it's all very detail-oriented work. And I like that. So I'm just sitting here and I get to work and work and work, and then once it's finished, it goes around to the other side of the table and we do a different kind of really intricate work where we have to make sure that all of the measurements are accurate. We have to make sure that we have everything numbered right. We have to make sure that everything is exactly as it should be, so that later on, if anybody wants to do analysis, they don't want to look and be like, oh, that's actually like 32 potsherds, not 20. We want everything to be as accurate as possible, because you can only dig an archaeology site once. The thing I would tell anybody who wants to do archaeology is that working here is a really great learning experience. It's something that not a lot of undergraduates get to have. Most of the time when you're in a big university and they have their own archaeology program, you're just taking archaeology classes. And sometimes you'll take, well, you have to take basically, a field school in order to get any sort of job working as an archaeologist. But here, you don't just get to go to a field school. You don't just get to take classes. You get to work here. If you talk to Dave and you let him know that you're interested, he will put you on this crew and he will give you the opportunity to thrive.
Hi, I'm Kat, and this is the Warren Wilson site. It doesn't look like much, but excavations have been going on here since the 1960s, so there's been about 50 years of excavation here. And that seems like a long time to work on one site, but the site was occupied for 8,000 years, so there's really a lot to look at. It was occupied for 3 distinct periods: the Archaic period, where it was sort of a small hunting and gathering camp. So in the Archaic period, it was occupied from about 7,000 BCE to about 1,000 BC, and then it was a small hunting and gathering camp. And after that, it was the Woodland period, and that was a larger camp, and there was more advanced horticulture, and it was a larger settlement with more houses. And then the period that we've excavated the most of, which is the most recent period, is the Mississippian period. And there they had more extensive agriculture. They grew squash, sunflowers, tobacco, and corn. And there were a bunch of houses here that were about 25 feet in diameter, and they're square post houses. And it was surrounded by a palisade, which were large wooden posts that created a fence for protection. And it's located right along the river here. And yeah, I mean... The best thing about working with the archaeology crew at Warren Wilson is the fact that we get so much hands-on experience. The department itself isn't very big, but that means that whenever there's an opportunity for the students to do archaeology, we get to take it. So I've had a full summer in the field, and that's probably the most valuable experience I could get as an undergraduate at this point. So it's been really valuable to do all of that.